Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we have some advice for anyone in Perry County who still needs help with flood debris removal on their property. And a local grocery store once again hosts a food drive for anyone needing a good meal.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning to you. 6:01. It's Wednesday. I'm Dakota Makris. Good morning to you. Can't believe it's already 6 o'clock. Time flies, I guess. Let's take it over to Brandon for a look at our forecast. And Brandon, I think those temps just keep going up this morning, right?
It's pretty stable out there this morning. We're dealing with a little bit of rain in some spots, but overall it's going to be another mild day. The longest in a stretch of mild days there that started back this weekend. So there you go. All right, let's take a look, see what's going on across the region this morning. Satellite radar first, and it'll give you a better look at where the rain is trying to fall this morning. It's not a whole lot of rain, but it's drifting a little bit further south, being pushed by that front that's stalled off across parts of our state. We see, again, a little bit of a line almost, well, it's a little north of the Howard Rogers Parkway, Highway 80 corridor, but you get a little closer to Pikeville. It's a little bit over there, but not all of this may be reaching the ground this morning, so we're keeping a close eye on things. Again, Lake Cumberland, a little bit of fog out that way this morning, always around the bodies of water, but seems to be fairly calm out there to start your day off. Temperatures 40 or above across the region, 40 in Grundy, 41 in Jonesville, to 52 in Somerset this morning. Trying to make sure there's nobody else above that. Nope, everybody else is right there around 50 or 51. Normal day on the coffee meter, a little extra if you're having a little bit of trouble getting yourself going this morning, but otherwise, as you head out the door, grab you a donut or some breakfast on the way out. It's going to be a overcast day. I'm not saying we're not going to see any sunshine, but I think there's at least or a less chance for us to see sunshine today than any other day. But again, I think we still get into the low to mid 60s for daytime highs. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Well, flood cleanup continues after more than 6 months, and several counties are still offering debris cleanup. Our Keaton Hall has some new guidelines for flood victims in Perry County.
More than 6 months on, and folks across eastern Kentucky are still picking up the pieces from July's flood.
I think everybody in the northern part of Perry County was affected at one level or another.
For folks in hard-hit Perry County, you can still get relief if you have flood debris on your private property.
If you've got debris that you need assistance with, all you got to do is just call the county judge's office, or you can look on their Facebook page. There's a lot of information about that.
To qualify for flood debris removal, you need documentation, which includes a short right of entry form.
Be a right of entry form, in other words, permission to enter your private property that the state requires, and some other basic information that we can go over with in our conversation when you call the county judge's office.
The county also needs exact GPS coordinates of the debris.
Most people has a app on their phone that you can pull up and do a GPS. I mean, it's not very difficult now, but if you don't have that capability, the county will absolutely come and do that for you.
Destroyed homes and trailers are also eligible for complete demolition and removal. If you're participating in the home buyout program, you do not need to apply for this service. In Perry County, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, if you live in Perry County and would like flood debris removed, you can call 606-439-3699. You can also find more information on WYMT.com. Save-A-Lot in Hazard has been hosting a Race Against Hunger food drive twice a year for many years. The Grandview Plaza Save-A-Lot asks customers to donate $5 to purchase a food bag, and all of the proceeds go to Bluegrass Care Navigators and Hospice to help keep groceries in the homes of patients and families. Chas Gayhart is the Associate Director of Philanthropy and says the Save-A-Lot staff goes above and beyond, even delivering the non-perishable food items to their office.
The day they're delivered, we start to take those out, and they are utilized for several months because they bring us enough that we're able to get the patients through until, again, they do it in November and December.
The spring food drive is now underway and will continue until April 1st. Eastern Kentucky housing experts say we are in a housing gap as they work to rebuild after the flood. They say the area needs funding to fill the gap, and now they are calling on state lawmakers to help make that happen. Executive Director of the Housing Development Alliance in Hazard, Scott McReynolds, says community leaders are hoping to receive federal funding from the Community Development Block Grant for Disaster Recovery but it could take anywhere between 12 to 18 months before that money is available.
In the best of times, you have that gap between those initial funds and when the federal dollars arrive.
He says the money for initial repairs is not available because in a typical disaster, homeowners insurance takes care of that, but not during a flooding event. Plus, some people in our region do not have savings or access to credit to fall back on.
Even fundraising, I mean, as generous as our local community has been, if you compare the money raised by the state fund for the tornadoes, it was $50 million. It was $13 million for the flood. That's a huge gap.
During the second portion of the General Assembly, which reconvened Tuesday, McReynolds is calling on lawmakers to act, asking them to help fill the gap.
We're hopeful. We need them to do what they promised to do when they didn't fund housing the first time now. And if they don't, like I say, people are gonna suffer.
Hoping to get Eastern Kentuckians the help they need. In Hazard, Dakota Magris, WYMT Mountain News. Senator Brandon Smith tells us he plans to file legislation to get funding to Eastern Kentucky, but says he is, quote, looking at several options on what is the quickest way to get money back here where it's needed, end quote. After more than 30 years of business, those with Graphic Impressions of Bulin experienced flooding, but nothing quite like July's flood. Well, the Perry County Printing Company was ravaged by floodwaters, leaving owner Billy Moore to find ways to replace thousands of dollars worth of printing and embroidery equipment. Moore says although the business has received a lot of community support, it's getting harder to make ends meet.
You're used to doing, 30, 40 orders a week, and you're doing 2 or 3. It's tough. I mean, and almost no money, no income, almost zero. You're talking about we would do more in a day than we've done in a month now.
Well, he says he cannot help but feel grateful that things were not worse for his business, and says although the business is only doing 20% of what it was doing before the flood, the outpouring of community support has helped keep him afloat.
6:08 here on this Wednesday morning. We continue to track a fairly calm start to the day for the most part. Let's take you to Whitesburg downtown this morning. No major issues out that way, but still calm on the roads, but they'll start to pick up here before too long. Temperatures 40 or above. 40 to 52 is the range out there this morning, so milder than yesterday. Still a bit chilly for some, so some light jackets or light sweaters may be needed. 54 Myrtle Beach, but 29 Indianapolis. They're on the other side of that front that's stalled out across our region. You see those darker blues, those are 20s and 30s out there across parts of the area. Almost 60 right now in Huntsville, Alabama, and 57 in Atlanta, Georgia. 59 by 1 o'clock, 63 the forecast high, but again, it could overachieve a little bit here later today. A mix of clouds, for the most part clouds, and then we could see a few peaks of sunshine, and then we could see some spotty rain chances again later as well. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Coming up next, we have some highlights from President Joe Biden's State of the Union address he made before a divided Congress. Well, more on that when we come back.